live on ABC 22. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Here's three quick stories you're seeing on social. Filmmaker Woody Allen says he's planning on retiring to focus on writing. His final movie, Wasp 22, begins filming in France next week.
And a sailor who died during the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941 will be buried in Arlington National Cemetery today. His remains were just identified using DNA.
And a new poll finds a majority of Americans think the age of political leaders is a problem. 75% say they want to see age caps in Congress.
And now to our top story this morning. We now know Richmond police officer Sierra Burton has passed away 5 weeks after being shot during a traffic stop.
Dayton 24/7 Now's Alex King is live with what we know about the procession happening today. Alex.
Local law enforcement will be honoring Officer Burton by escorting her body back from Dayton to Richmond around 1:30 this afternoon. And this is the processional route just released by Richmond Police on Facebook. Officer Burton will be taken to Doan and Mills Funeral Home, where her family is still working out details about her funeral. Now, Officer Burton passed away just before 10 p.m. last night at Reed Health, surrounded by her family. She was shot during a routine traffic stop back in August and was then taken to Miami Valley Hospital. She was taken off of life support earlier this month and has spent the last few weeks in hospice care. We're going to continue to follow this. We'll update you on air and online at Dayton247now.com, and stick with us. We're going to have more on what Richmond police are saying right now. Live in Dayton, Alex King, Dayton 24/7 Now News.
And we are following breaking news this morning. As we prepare for the funeral service for Queen Elizabeth II, you are taking a live look right now from London. We now know world leaders, including President Biden, are there. UK Prime Minister Liz Truss will do one of the readings, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, will give the sermon. Now, most members of the royal family will attend, including two of the Queen's great-grandchildren, Prince George and Princess Charlotte. We, of course, will bring you everything that happens as it happens all morning long.
And starting at 5:45, a procession will move the late Queen's casket from Westminster Hall to Abbey, where the map that's on the BBC's websites right now showing that route. We will continue to bring you updates all morning long. And to get breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 Now app in Google Play and Apple App Stores. All you got to do is scan the QR code right there on your screen. And don't forget, Dayton 24/7 Now is committed to bringing you news as it happens.
This morning, most of us are waking up to a little bit of light rain, even a few thunderstorms making their way into the Miami Valley. It's starting off kind of overcast out there right now, too. You definitely can see some of that isolated to scattered thunderstorms, mostly moving through parts of Shelby County into Greene and parts of Logan, Champaign there. And then eventually this is following through with a little bit of rain that will stay steady through the rest of our morning commute, eventually drying out late afternoon today, or late morning today, early afternoon hours, it looks like. So a live look at the skyline. So far, most of us are sitting quiet but very warm with the lower 70s expected. Dew points are in the lower 60s though, so it's warm and it's humid, and we're also tracking a little bit of a breeze, and a very strong one at that too. We are anticipating it to stay very warm and humid through the rest of our morning today, and obviously keeping a very close eye on those showers that are expected to impact that commute for us as the morning goes on. Right now, a live look at the highways, where it is dry for the most part at this point. Obviously, we're starting to see some of those isolated showers and storms popping up. Definitely something that will impact any driving conditions today, so definitely keeping a very, very close look at that.
Flash flood warnings have been issued for most of Puerto Rico as Hurricane Fiona batters the island. Take a look at this video showing a bridge being swept away by floodwaters. Between 5 to 10 inches of rain have fallen since midnight. And the National Hurricane Center says more is on the way. Currently, the entire island, all 1.5 million residents, are without power. Fiona comes 2 days ahead of the anniversary of 2017's Hurricane Maria, which destroyed the island's power grid and killed nearly 3,000 people.
Let's take a live look this morning at radar. At this hour, you can actually see this storm right here. This is Typhoon Nanmadol. It is hitting Japan right now, and millions are now urged to evacuate. The Japan Meteorological Agency issued a rare, quote, special warning. Now, it's an alert only issued when it forecasts conditions seen once in several decades. More than 300,000 households in Japan's southwestern island of Kyushu are out of power. At a level 5 alert, the highest on Japan's disaster warning scale, was also issued.
And at least one person has died after a 6.8 magnitude earthquake in Taiwan. This video shows children playing in a gymnasium moments before the earthquake hit yesterday. They appear to get to safety in time. Images from the area show substantial damage. Now, several buildings have collapsed and a train derailed. According to Island's National Fire Agency, 4 people who were trapped under a collapsed building have been rescued safely.
Our time right now is 5:05. Don't forget, of course, your headlines are scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
The challenges here in the United States continue to grow. I'm Christine Frizzell with a look at what the president is saying about some of them.
And a potential strike for Kroger employees, what union members voted on, and why there's been an uptick in worker strikes across the country.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now News.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Good morning, everybody. Your time right now is 5:10, and we're tracking a few showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms to kick off this morning. They're not super widespread right now, but definitely a little bit more of a punch for those counties that live north. It does look like moving into Bell Fountain here soon, even into parts of Urbana. We're seeing some of those heavier rain showers and thunderstorms, while the rest of us are sitting overcast, humid, and then eventually followed through with a few of those isolated shower chances as well. Right now, we're in the lower 70s. We have dew points in the lower 60s. We're feeling a little bit of a breeze out there, southwesterly wind at 16 miles an hour. So it is windy, but it's also very, very warm. Right now, we're trending about 15 degrees above normal for this time of the year. 68 in Xenia, 69 over into Springboro. It's 72 over into Greenville as well. At the bus stop this morning, we might be needing that rain gear. Showers are expected to last until late morning hours, and then we're eventually going to dry out and clear out by this afternoon. Sit in the lower to mid 80s today, though, so it does get a bit warmer for you. We're trending above normal today, too. You can definitely see those isolated showers that will hang around and through about late morning, early afternoon, and then by lunchtime we're dry today and topping out in the lower to mid 80s for most of you. My favorite part of this forecast is, for one, we're still technically in the summer season, although most of us are mentally at fall. And Wednesday is the last full day of summer, and we're near 90 degrees. And then Thursday kicks off the official start to fall, and highs will only sit in the lower 70s. So perfect timing for that fall-like weather to return. We have another round of storms, what looks like potentially late on Wednesday into early Thursday, and then eventually we'll just sit dry and much cooler through the weekend. Right now, a live look here, 75 and 3rd Street this morning. It's been an easy start to the day for anyone that is headed out the door so far, though. Obviously, we are tracking those showers to keep a very close eye on, so just know right now we're not experiencing any issues, but as the rain moves in, there's a pretty good chance we could end up seeing more eventually develop.
A live look this morning from the U.S. Capitol, where the president is speaking out in what has become a rarity for him, a sit-down interview. Now, that interview aired last night on CBS's 60 Minutes, and Christine Frizzell looks at some of the challenges the president is now facing.
Averting a rail strike last week seen as a win for the White House. But the agreement between rail carriers and union leaders representing workers has not yet been finalized, with some fears it may still fall apart.
If, in fact, they had gone on strike, the supply chains in this country would have come to a screeching halt. We would have seen a real economic crisis.
Meanwhile, Americans used to prices at the pump ticking down are getting new warnings that it could all change due to a lack of investment in future oil production, including predictions the price of oil may climb back up to $150 a barrel. As the Consumer Price Index numbers just released showed it up 8.3% from the previous year.
You're not arguing that 8.3 is good news.
No, I'm not saying it's good news, but it was 8.2 or 8.2 before. I mean, it's not, maybe I can make it sound like all of a sudden, my God, it went to 8.2%. It's
the highest inflation rate, Mr. President, in 40 years.
I got that. But guess what we are? We're in a position where for the last several months, it hasn't spiked. It is just barely, it's been basically even.
While President Biden's overall approval rating has been steadily increasing, a brand new NBC News poll shows 58% of voters disapprove of the way he's handling the economy, giving Republicans a 19-point advantage over Democrats, an all-time high. Republicans hoping those numbers equal votes in the midterm elections.
The Democratic Party is extreme on border. They're extreme on crime. They're extreme on inflation.
Prior to this sit-down, Joe Biden has been interviewed just 23 times between becoming president and May of 2022. Compare that to 95 times for Donald Trump and 187 times for Barack Obama at the same point in their presidencies. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell.
The union that represents Kroger employees says their members are ready to strike. Union members voted 45% for a new contract and 55% voted against it. So far, it remains business as usual at all stores. Kevin Lander shares why we've seen an uptick in worker strikes across the country.
Cincinnati-based Kroger is the largest grocery chain in the nation and the second largest retailer with an operating profit of $965 million. The union that represents its Columbus employees is the United Food and Commercial Workers Union. Its 12,500 members voted overwhelmingly to strike, by a vote of 81% yes to 19% no. From striking Columbus school teachers to an averted strike by railroad employees, workers nationwide have been emboldened to ask for more money. Ray Hederman of the Buckeye Institute, a think tank that promotes free market public policy, says he could see more strikes because of the ongoing worker shortages and because workers didn't always feel appreciated while working long hours during the pandemic.
And this is what you'd expect to see from a good market, where a worker gets to say, I think I'm worth more than my employer's pay.
Low unemployment and high inflation also gives workers more power to negotiate, but consumers may have to pay higher prices as a result.
Workers are feeling undervalued, and so they're pushing for more wages. At the same standpoint, employers are looking not just what I need to pay workers today, but in the future, and they're concerned about, the longer inflation goes along, businesses can't afford to pay workers too much because you're going to may drive your prices too high and price your customers out of the market.
According to the union, employees who are prepared to strike include any employee you see in the store.
We now know this morning those who suffer from anxiety, depression, even loneliness may be at higher risk for developing long COVID. Scientists say people with common psychiatric issues could have as much as 50% higher risk of developing long-term COVID symptoms. Researchers found those with 2 or more types of psychological problems are at even a higher risk. Now, the author suggests depression and other mental health issues can make it harder for the immune system to ward off viruses and bacteria.
Our time right now, 5:16. You say tomato, I say tomato. Green, red, and now purple. Why scientists create a new color and when you might see it in stores.
And we want to give you another live look this morning from London. You can see preparations now underway for the world's farewell to Britain's longest reigning monarch. This morning we are following Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. Just ahead, we're going to check in from Westminster Abbey.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 on News.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Good morning, everybody. Your time right now is 5:20, and we are waking up to a really easy start to the day so far, but seeing a few of those storm chances increasing, so know that will impact commutes and dog walks this morning, too. Now, it's time to meet our dog of the day today. We have Bella sent in to us from Kathy. They live in Dayton together. She's all dressed up in her cute pink little dress there, but maybe it's the day that you wear the raincoat, just because early on this morning, at least, we do have some of those showers and even a few thunderstorms that are possible. Once we're back this afternoon, though, in the upper 70s and lower 80s, it's going to feel a little bit warmer, and then we'll see some cloud cover to start, but also some sunshine to finish. So today we'll start off a little rainy, a little soggy, very humid through the rest of the, middle of the week at least. These are our last few days of summer, and summer's definitely got a death grip on us for the next few days, because once we hit Wednesday night into Thursday, which is the official start to fall, we actually will feel so much cooler, definitely much lower temperatures even through next weekend too. So I've been holding off putting up the fall decorations, but this weekend is the weekend to do it. We are anticipating what will eventually be a little bit more of a quieter end to the week, but right now still experiencing some lower levels of air quality as well. Right now, a live look here, 75 at 3rd Street. It is pretty quiet, but we're seeing a few more cars making their way out the door. Watching rain move in right now, though, does mean that we need to keep a close eye on that commute, as that will likely impact the commute for people as the morning continues on.
Well, do you feel safe where you live? Today's number of the day polls Americans. 76% of voters say they'd feel safe going in for a walk in their own neighborhoods at night. That total includes large majorities of both men and women. The Scott Rasmussen National Survey, also shows 65% say they're confident if they needed help. Police officers, neighbors, or others would arrive quickly. And this morning, we are continuing to follow the state funeral for Queen Elizabeth II.
The procession will be starting soon, but right now attendees filling in to Westminster Hall. Let's take a listen in. You can hear the organs playing there as many people are taking their seats.
And now we do know that there will be several people who will be speaking today. In fact, we know that the UK Prime Minister Liz Truss will be doing one of the readings, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, will give the sermon. And as soon as they speak this morning, of course, we will be coming in and dipping in live for you so you can get a look. Now, obviously, this is the procession as the Queen's body makes her way to Westminster.
Now, we do know President Biden will be in attendance at the funeral today, along with other world leaders, dignitaries, and royals. And of course, as Elise just mentioned, we will continue to follow this throughout the morning.
The FDA has been warning parents to keep an eye out for products that may look like typical candy but are actually nicotine-based. It says they could be very dangerous for children. Now, each of these gummies had 1 milligram of nicotine, and they came 12 to a package. The FDA says 1 to 4 milligrams of nicotine could be toxic to children under 6, as well as older children, depending on their weight. Exercise can improve your cognitive and mental health, but not all forms and intensities affect the brain equally. Now, the effects of exercise are more nuanced, according to this study that they actually looked at memory and mental health at Dartmouth. Now, the researchers say that the subjects in this study all wore Fitbit smart devices, and they found that mental health, physical health, and memory are central to nearly everything we do in our everyday lives. Well, lawmakers are seeking to limit the sale of diet pills and weight loss supplements to children with the introduction of new bills in California and New York. The bills in those states would prohibit retailers from selling dietary supplements for weight loss and over-the-counter diet pills for anyone under 18 without a prescription. From the NASDAQ market site, I'm Jane King. Here's your health.
You say tomato, I say tomato. But what about purple tomatoes? Well, apparently it tastes and smells and even looks kind of like a tomato, but you know, because it makes sense because it's a tomato, just purple. Now,
what the heck are you saying?
Blah, 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 blah. The genetically modified produce was developed by a team of scientists and just got USDA approval, clearing the way for to be sold at a grocery store near you. And this tomato isn't just pretty and purple. The scientists who made it say it has more antioxidants and a longer shelf life than the garden variety of red tomatoes. The next step is to get the thumbs up from the FDA, when it's off store shelves. I'm having a stroke this morning. I apologize.
I have no desire for a genetically modified purple tomato. I'm going to eat me a garden variety.
Yeah.
Good old-fashioned red.
I don't know, it also kind of looks like weird.
Didn't they do like the pink pineapple a couple years ago?
I mean, but the thing,
cosmic apple.
But why? Why do we have to do it? I don't understand. It just let food be.
Exactly, but I mean, you
right?
It looks cool. That's it.
Yeah, but
that's
the thing is
that
like, I don't know.
Literally the only reason.
Here's my conspiracy theory of the morning. Yet another one. I know I've been feeding Nathan all of my conspiracy theories. All these genetically modified foods are what is making us like fat and unhappy and sick and depressed. Just eat normal, natural food.
There you go.
Done. That's my I guess.
You've been spending too much time on Facebook.
That's my platform of the day. Now let me get off my soapbox.
Yeah, well, when you're on the box, at least you're a little taller.
Touche on that.
No, that's true.
Our time right now, 5:26, still to come.
We have new information this morning about Richmond police officer Sierra Burton. Coming up next, I'll have an update for you.
And honoring the United States Air Force, how they celebrated their 75th anniversary and the new exhibits you can now enjoy at the National Museum.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 on News.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Here's three quick stories you're seeing on social right now. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky vows there will be no let-up in fighting to regain territory lost to Russia.
And Puerto Rico without power this morning amid catastrophic flooding and an estimated 85-mile-per-hour winds after Hurricane Fiona made landfall.
Post Malone apologizes to his St. Louis fans for an onstage accident that sent him to the hospital. In the middle of a song, Malone fell into a hole on the stage.
And now we want to give you a live look this morning over the city of Dayton. We are waking up to scattered thunderstorms across the Miami Valley this morning.
Let's check in with meteorologist Adriana Michaels to see what we have in store. Adriana.
Most of us right now are waking up to rain or thunderstorm activity, and you're really starting to see that take over a little bit more widespread as the morning has continued. You can kind of see some heavier rainfall in mostly our northern counties. I mean, Champaign, Logan counties, even into parts of Clark County right now, seeing some very, very heavy rain and thunderstorm activity. While closing in on downtown Dayton will just be a few more rounds of some light rain showers and maybe some heavier rain at times as well. But for the most part, it is a really quiet morning. As as of right now at least, because once that does take over, our winds will pick up a bit more, and so will our issues on the roadways, because every time it rains, we always have some problems out there. Right now, nothing to report, but winds are from the southwest at 16 miles an hour, so it's definitely a little bit of a breezier start to the day. Dew points are in the lower 60s. We do have temperatures that are sitting in the lower 70s, so it's very warm out there too. Again, watching those storm chances throughout the rest of our morning commute. And right now, a live look at our area roadways. As I mentioned, we're starting to see that rain closing in. It's not really necessarily near downtown just yet, but something to keep a close eye on, especially as the morning continues on. We'll watch as the commute does continue to potentially get a little bit more dicey as the rain moves in.
And now to today's top story. We have new information this morning. Richmond officer Sierra Burton passed away late last night.
The Richmond Police Department keeping us updated in a series of Facebook posts. Dayton 24/7 Now's Alex King is live with more. Alex.
Yeah, Officer Burton passed away just before 10 p.m. last night at Reed Health, surrounded by her family. And today, local law enforcement will escort her body back home. This is the processional route just released by Richmond Police on Facebook. Officer Burton will be taken to Donan Mills Funeral Home, where her family is still working out details about her funeral. She was shot during a routine traffic stop back in August and was then taken to Miami Valley Hospital. She was taken off of life support earlier this month and has spent the last few weeks in hospice care. The police department thanking the Richmond community and those who have supported Sierra, her family, and the department from near and far. Now, we're going to continue to follow this. We'll update you on air and online at Dayton247now.com as soon as we learn any new information. Stick with us. We'll hear more about this update. Live in Dayton, Alex King, Dayton 24/7 Now News.
And we are continuing to follow breaking news as we prepare for the funeral service for Queen Elizabeth II. You're taking a live look from London, where that procession is now heading to Westminster Abbey. We know world leaders, including President Biden, are there at this time. UK Prime Minister Liz Truss will be doing one of the readings, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, will be giving the sermon. As soon as anyone speaks, of course, we will obviously take that live and allow you to hear that coverage this morning. Now, most members of the royal family will be attending as well, including two of the Queen's great-grandchildren, Prince George and Princess Charlotte. We will bring you that funeral, of course, as it happens again. This is that procession making its way through to Westminster.
And starting in just 15 minutes, the procession will move the late Queen's casket to the Abbey. Here's a map that is on the BBC's website right now showing that route. And we will continue to bring you live updates on the funeral all morning long. To get breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 Now app in Google Play and Apple App Stores. All you got to do is scan the QR code right there on your screen. And don't forget, Dayton 24/7 Now is committed to bring you news as it happens. You can now visit new exhibits at the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force as they celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Air Force. The theme this year is Innovate, Accelerate, Thrive, the Air Force at 75. Now, the anniversary celebrations highlight the U.S. Air Force and Department of the Air Force's commitment to, quote, fly, fight, and win, delivering air power anytime, anywhere in defense of our nation. Now, the museum will host new exhibits honoring Air Force humanitarian and combat search and rescue missions, as well as memorial exhibits for World War II and the Korean War.
Well, the Greater Dayton Heart Walk returned in person this year, fundraising for stroke and heart disease awareness, of course. Our evening anchor, Adam Arrow, emceed that event, cheering on runners and walkers before taking off for the 5K. This year, they raised more than $300,000. Now, the American Heart Association helps doctors and healthcare providers fund research programs and teaches us how to live healthier, longer lives. Around 100 people took part in the walk or run to raise awareness for stroke and heart disease. Heart and Vascular Executive Director at Kettering Health, Alina Joseph, says that this walk is crucial to the economy. Now, to read more about this story and others like it, head to Dayton247now.com.
Our time right now is 5:34. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather's on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
In the words of Parks and Rec, treat yourself. Gotta love it. But spending time on yourself can be expensive. Just ahead, stretch your dollar. Alex King explains how you can do so responsibly.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now News.
Good morning, everybody. Your time right now is 5:37. We're starting to see that rain and a few storms building their way in right now. So just know that's going to continue through the late part of the early morning, at least, if that makes sense. By about 8 or 9 a.m., maybe even to that 10 o'clock hour, we're expecting things to start to calm down a little bit more. So more of the late morning, early afternoon, I guess, would be more relevant there. Temperatures, no matter where you're at, though, are in the mid to upper 60s right now. So it is definitely chilly to start off the day today. And we're tracking a few of those scattered storm chances as the morning continues on. But once we again hit about 8 or 9 a.m., we're going to start to see the end of those showers, and then most of us will end up sitting dry by about 10 o'clock this morning. But it is going to be a very warm start to another fairly warm day today, very summer-like for you out there as well. Lower 80s this afternoon. We're clearing out later on today, though, so sunshine is expected to return. Humidity levels a little higher, a little warmer by the later part of the day today, so we are expecting to just feel more comfortable and ultimately end up seeing a bit more of that sunshine by the end of our day too, so that might make things even feel hotter as well. Now, it is still technically summer until the end of the day on Wednesday. Thursday marks the official start to fall.
Well, we've all heard the phrase, treat yourself, and sometimes that means spending a bit too much money, right? Well, Dayton 24/7 Now's Alex King has some ways to stretch your dollar.
Here are some affordable ways to treat yourself from the website You Need a Budget. We're going to go to this list now. First, drink wine while cooking. Take your dog out on a date to the dog park or out for a cappuccino. Get the nice chocolate. Binge watch your favorite show. Sleep in. Try a new coffee shop you haven't been to yet. Now let us know how you stretch your dollar. You can reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter at Dayton 24/7 Now.
All right, so how do you guys treat yourselves?
Shopping.
Shopping?
Yeah, it's always shopping.
Well,
Online
retail
shopping?
fair.
Both.
You do plenty of that.
I did. We went to the outlet malls on Saturday, and I definitely treated myself.
I'm so jealous. I haven't been in so long. It's been like over a year.
I got a lot from Loft. I got well, we'll talk about it after. Probably like 30 different things. I probably only spent $200.
That's awesome. They
What
must
about
have had
you,
a good
Elise?
sale. At shopping, I do love me a good pedicure. But honestly, sometimes just getting that like coffee from Starbucks or like anywhere, sometimes I just need that.
I love to go eat out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we went to the new Moeller Brew Barn downtown.
Oh,
So cool,
yeah.
isn't
It
it?
is very
Did you try
cool.
the food?
Yeah.
Was it
great.
good? Okay.
Yeah.
We just drank their beers, which were. I did not find one that I didn't like there, and we did quite a few like
Did
little
a ton of
samples.
them.
We did drink a lot of them,
quite a
but
bit.
Large samples.
Yeah.
No, but their pizza was good, and
Yeah.
we also had some one of their massive soft pretzels. So yeah,
It
Food.
looks good.
Ooh, I
yeah.
love me a good soft pretzel.
Oh, beer cheese.
Oh, my stomach is literally growling. I was just pulling my food out to go heat it up.
Well, you better get on that.
I know. I was going to. I didn't know we had a chat.
guess
but here
what?
we
Well,
are.
you got to make some popcorn this
We'll
morning.
give you
too.
time right now. I might make you popcorn. We'll
Oh,
see.
time? Haha.
Our time
You're
right
so,
now.
Okay.
You're so lame.
Yeah.
5:41. Live look from London this morning. The world's farewell to Britain's longest reigning monarch. This morning we're following Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. Just ahead, we check in from Westminster Abbey.
On your mark, set, go! The Air Force Marathon returns in its entirety. How many came out to run? And the events held at the base. I felt like I was talking to Roman. Ready, set, go!
Oh, it's all kids all the time. You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now News.
Auto Matters is sponsored by Chevrolet of Troy.
A few weeks ago, we talked about how important it is to check air pressure. Now it's time to talk about rotating those tires. See, tires should typically be rotated about every 10,000 miles. And I'm all for doing a good deal of the work yourself, but when it comes to rotating tires, it's important to have a car care professional help. The first issue that you're going to run into is whether your tires are directional or non-directional. That changes the way they're rotated. Then, if your car is front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, or all-wheel drive, they're rotated differently. Finally, you really need to have your tires professionally inspected and balanced. That ensures that they're working properly or not.
Come browse our selection of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Chevrolet of Troy. From our vast selection of automobiles to our state-of-the-art body shop, Chevrolet of Troy is here for you. Don't miss our grand opening celebration happening now at
live on ABC 22. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
And of course, we are continuing to follow the state funeral for Queen Elizabeth II.
We do know the procession's happening right now. Let's check in at Westminster Abbey. You're taking a look there. You can hear the
bells tolling.
That's right. And then we know that the royals themselves just showed up moments ago, including the Queen Consort Camilla, Princess Kate, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, King Charles III. You could see right there in the middle the casket amongst the British soldiers. And of course, dignitaries from all over the world joining in celebrating the life of Queen Elizabeth II this morning.
We do know President Biden will be there, and the Prime Minister. Sorry, we're just taking. If you are just joining us this morning, taking a live look right now from London. We are obviously watching that procession live as they take Queen Elizabeth II's body into Westminster Abbey to begin the funeral services for the longest reigning monarch.
You can see King Charles there in the center of your screen, right next to Princess Anne.
And then just behind them was Prince William and Prince Harry as well.
We're going to continue to follow this story very closely for you all morning long. And as the funeral begins, we will continue to break in and show you what is happening inside the church and continue to provide you coverage on this story all morning long.
Right now here in the Miami Valley, we are seeing some very heavy rain and even a few thunderstorms that have started to develop. So as you are waking up right now and maybe planning on leaving the house in the next hour to two, we do have those very heavy showers and storms, mainly in our northwestern, northeastern counties right now. You can definitely see that making its way out though, and near downtown Dayton, seeing some heavier shower activity. The biggest part of this rain actually looks like it's trending a little bit further to the south, which is good because that does mean not everyone is going to expect impacts from the heavy rainfall, but we are going to end up seeing some sort of shower activity through the early part of this morning. Now we're in the lower 70s. We have a very breezy start to the day with southwesterly winds at 16 miles an hour. We are sitting warm though, upper 60s, lower 70s. Technically for this time of the year, 56 degrees is normal, so we are obviously a little warmer than that. Storm chances do taper off though after about 8 or 9 a.m. and we'll be dry through lunchtime today and then actually see some sunshine by the end of the day too. Still feeling very summer-like, but we technically still have 3 days left in the summertime temperatures, and then eventually we'll end up seeing much cooler air by the end of the week as fall actually officially starts as well. So today, as we mentioned, mid-80s, lower 80s in spots. Now Wednesday is the last full day of summer. It is going to sit like 90 degrees, and then by Thursday we actually kick off fall and we're back in the lower 70s as highs. So definitely feeling a lot more comfortable for us once we do hit the end of the week. Most of our air temperatures back in the lower to mid 70s through both Saturday and Sunday. And then, I mean, if we're flipping the page on the new season here, it's definitely going to feel a lot more comfortable and a lot cooler as well. Right now, a live look at 75 Main Street here. We're definitely getting a little bit more of a soggier kind of camera angle as that rain has started to develop, and it's not super heavy at this point, but right when the rain first starts to fall, it usually gets the slickest out there. So we're definitely going to keep a close eye on the roadways and let you know if we start to see any issues pop up. But right now, it does look like everything's up to speed. Now, if you are headed out the door today and to Columbus, here's a look at our Triple Team traffic report.
Good morning on this Monday. We are starting to wake up and get more folks out on the roadways. So you can see right here behind me that we have traffic moving nicely. This is going to be that stretch of 70 as you're working your way in from Madison County this morning, heading towards the 270 Outer Belt and downtown Columbus. Things are really in good shape and continuing to move nicely. That entire area in the green. We're also seeing 71 northbound lanes looking good as well. Coming on up from the south, heading towards the 270 Outer Belt and making your way in towards downtown Columbus without any problems. We don't have any overnight construction that's going going to slow you down this morning, and we don't have any accidents to report on our board. We're also doing really well over here on 670, so if you have a flight to catch or maybe you have to pick someone up this morning early on this Monday, you are good to go because things are really in good shape. I'm Katie McKee with your Triple Team Traffic.
After 2 years, the Air Force Marathon returned with more than 8,000 runners participating. It was an early start Saturday. The race included a 3-person relay, wheelchair race, 10K, half and full marathons. Jason Saylor won the men's full marathon with a time of 2 hours and 27 minutes. Gabby Babadia won the women's with a flat time of 3 hours. The race will return for 2023 as the date has been set for September 16th. Registration begins in November.
Good morning. I'm Matt Digby with a look at sports. This weekend was week 2 of the National Football League season. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals had a heartbreaking season opener with their overtime loss to the Steelers. On Sunday, they headed on the road to Dallas. The Cowboys also going for win number 1 of 2022. Let's go to Arlington. We'll start in the first quarter. Cooper Rush at quarterback in place of the injured Dak Prescott. He rolls right, connecting with former Ohio State wideout Noah Brown for the touchdown. Dallas up 7-0. Then on the Bengals' first drive, Joe Burrow looks right for Jamar Chase, who advances inside the 30 for a first down. Evan McPherson kicks a field goal to make it 7-3. Then late in the first, Tony Pollard nearly scored from 47 yards out. He reaches the end zone from 1 yard out. Cowboys up 17-3 at the break. Third quarter, 17-9 the score now. Rush's pass is complete over the middle, but a fumble on the play recovered by the Bengals' DJ Reader. They're unable to capitalize on that takeaway, but in the fourth quarter, it's still an 8-point deficit. Bengals driving in the red zone to the Dallas 5-yard line. Burrow scrambling to his right, connecting with T. Higgins for the touchdown, and Cincinnati would tie the game with a 2-point conversion. However, the Cowboys have time at the end to go downfield, and Brett Maher from 50 yards for the walk-off field goal. It is good. 20-17 the final. Another heartbreaker for the Bengals.
People are going to look back at 2 games last year and say something very similar, so these reactions always happen when you lose a game. It's a long season. That's what we tell our players. We're just going to take ownership in these losses and continue to get better. We know that we have a good football team. We've shot ourselves in the foot a little bit early on here in 2 games. Long season yet to go, and our guys are going to continue to improve and play better and get some wins.
So the Bengals now 0-2. They will go for their first win of the season next Sunday when they travel to the Jets. The Jets, by the way, just came from behind big time to win on Sunday at the Browns. In the meantime, that'll do it for sports. I'm Matt Digby.
Our time right now is 5:52. The longest running show in Broadway history set to close when Phantom of the Opera prepares to exit the stage.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now News.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Live from the Watson's weather patio this morning. A little bit of a breeze out here. I grabbed my raincoat just because I thought we would be seeing some showers in Miamisburg, but it does look like maybe they're staying a bit more further to the north. At this point, most of our air temperatures are very warm, very humid, but we're also seeing some of that heavier rain that has started to shift its way in. Some thunderstorm activity in our northeastern counties is making its way out before we end up just seeing a few isolated showers or two, essentially, as the morning continues on. Most of us right now are sitting in the lower 70s and upper 60s, though, because it is a very warm and very humid start to the day. That trend likely to continue as the afternoon goes on as well. So by lunchtime, most of our air temperatures are going to sit back into the mid to upper 80s at times. Most of us in the lower 80s too, so kind of that range for you later on today. But we are anticipating to start off obviously rainy, overcast if you're not seeing rain, and then eventually give way to what will be some sunshine as the day continues. Now, we only have a few days left in astronomical summer, but once we do hit fall, we officially will start to feel a lot more fall-like too. Coming up in a few minutes, I'll have all the details on a much cooler weekend forecast for you and let you know just how chilly we'll get.
Well, the curtain is closing on the longest running show in Broadway history. The New York Times now reporting Andrew Lloyd Webber's The Phantom of the Opera is ending February 18th. 2023. Producers say it just simply can't keep up with the weekly running costs since returning from the pandemic. Phantom won 7 Tony Awards in 1988, including Best Musical. Now, in its 35 years on Broadway, it has been seen by nearly 20 million people and grossed $1.3 billion. Have you actually gone to New York to see it?
I have not seen Phantom in New York, but I mean, it's so iconic.
I know.
My mom always listened to this.
The soundtrack.
When I was a kid. And my older brother took her and my grandma to see it.
Oh, very cool.
And they loved it, yeah.
Yeah, I know I've been to New York several times. I have not seen that particular show because it's always packed, I'm not going to lie. And so it's really sad. I mean, that's history.
Yeah, that is one of those staples up there with like Les Mis, Cats, Wicked.
Yeah, it was sad when Cats left Broadway as well.
Yeah. But you know what? They always make their return.
They do, and then maybe that'll happen.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, they'll bring it back. The revival of Phantom of the Opera.
And because people want to, see it more and more.
And
so
new way to make money. Our time right now, 5:56. We got a lot more coming up on ABC 22 in the morning at 6.
We have new information this morning about Richmond Officer Sierra Burton. I'll have the details for you coming up next.
And we want to give you another live look this morning from London, where you can see the procession into Westminster Abbey. You see they are now carrying the Queen's body, the Queen Elizabeth II, her body into Westminster at this time. We will be checking back in live there momentarily as the show continues this morning.
And we are waking up today to some rain and some thunderstorm activity, eventually giving way to what will be a drier finish to the week, but powering through some of those stronger storms as you can kind of see those making their way into the Miami Valley right now. It's definitely warm, very humid out there today, but eventually we will cool off and dry out later on this afternoon. So we'll have a more detailed look coming up in just a minute. Our time right now is 5:58. You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now News.
live on ABC 22. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
This morning, the funeral for Queen Elizabeth II now underway. You can see right there, we're taking a live look from Westminster Abbey as her body is being brought into the church there. You can see the crown sitting on the casket where the Queen's body now lays.
Let's take a listen in and see what's happening.
Now you are watching live right now as that procession is walking into Westminster Abbey. We have seen King Charles III, we have seen Queen Consort Camilla, we have seen Prince William, Prince Harry, Princess Kate, and Meghan Markle as well. And we also saw standing next to Prince William, his son, Prince George, in that procession. Now you're taking a live look. You see Prince William and Prince Harry walking just behind the Queen's casket this morning.
Certainly a beautiful sound of the choir singing as the Queen is escorted down the aisle there. You could see her crown resting atop the casket as she's being escorted in. As we remember the life of the Queen, is an absolutely beautiful sight to remember her life.
Now this morning we do know several people will be speaking during the service. We know the Prime Minister will be speaking, UK's Prime Minister, and we also know that the Archbishop will be speaking. President Biden is there in the UK honoring Britain's longest reigning monarch. 70 years was her reign.
We'll get back out here in a few moments once they start talking and folks start taking the stage there and remembering the life of Queen Elizabeth II.
Now to our top story this morning. We now know Richmond police officer Sierra Burton has passed away 5 weeks after being shot during a traffic stop.
Dayton 24/7 Now's Alex King is live with what we know about the procession happening today. Alex.
Well, local law enforcement will be honoring Officer Burton by escorting her body from Dayton back home to Richmond around 1:30 this afternoon. This is a processional route just released by Richmond Police on Facebook. Officer Burton will be taken to Donan Mills Funeral Home, where her family is still working out details about her funeral. Officer Burton passed away just before 10 last night at Reed Health, surrounded by her family. She was shot during a routine traffic stop back in August and was then taken to Miami Valley Hospital. She was taken off of life support earlier this month and has spent the last few weeks in hospice care. We're going to continue to follow this. We'll update you on air and online at Dayton247now.com. Stick with us. We're going to hear more from the Richmond Police Department. Live in Dayton, Alex King, Dayton 24/7 Now News.
Right now we're waking up to some rain and a few thunderstorms out there. It's not nearly as heavy as it was, and actually coming to the end of some of these storms, at least for the downtown Dayton area. We definitely saw quite the line of thunderstorms really take off just heading north of Columbus right now, but just down into Butler County, parts of Preble, into parts of maybe Darke County, it looks like a little isolated shower, and then over into Warren as well, maybe some isolated rain. But this is about the rain that we're expecting today. I mean, it's warm, it's humid. Right now we're seeing very overcast skies. We really didn't even get that much rain in downtown Dayton. And again, it should end here very shortly, but temperatures are staying about the same, but dew points have increased quite a bit more too. So it's very humid out there. We're also tracking a very windy start to the day too. So just know that this morning a little more active than the last few have been. Right now, a live look at our highways where you can see it's a little soggy out there in spots. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely kind of hit or miss at this point. We don't have any issues at this hour, but we're definitely watching that commute time closely.
Flash flood warnings have been issued for most of Puerto Rico as Hurricane Fiona batters the island. Now take a look at this video showing the bridge being swept away by floodwaters. Between 5 to 10 inches of rain have fallen since midnight, and the National Hurricane Center says more is on the way. Currently, the entire island, all 1.5 million residents, are without power. Fiona comes 2 days ahead of the anniversary of 2017's Hurricane Maria, which destroyed the island's power grid and killed nearly 3,000 people.
6:07 our time right now. Don't forget your headlines are scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
In the words of Parks and Rec, treat yourself, but spending on yourself can be expensive. Just ahead and stretch your dollar. Alex King explains how you can do it responsibly.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now News.
This morning, we're waking up to some rain and a few thunderstorms making their way through the Miami Valley. It is a pretty early on situation for us, and I'm sure a lot of us will see this kind of fizzle out as the morning continues to. It already looks like it's really starting to come to an end for you, too. A little bit of some heavier rain down into parts of Butler County, and we right now do have temperatures sitting a few degrees warmer, at least to kind of match the background there, but that just goes to show how warm it actually is out there, too. Right now, most of us are in the lower 70s. Some of us are in the upper 60s. Downtown Dayton 71, Troy 72. We got 67 degrees, Springfield, Bell Fountain, and into Eaton as well. So it's really going to be one of those mornings that a lot of you are uncomfortable, humid, and seeing a little bit of that light rain as well. So as the morning does continue, we're back in the 80s this afternoon. Those storm chances, again, really taper off in the next hour or so. So I think even by 8 a.m., it's not going to be a huge impact for you. And we're clearing out by the end of the day today, seeing some of that sunshine make its return too. So regardless of where you're at, it's going to be a nice, easy, and kind of smooth sailing morning beyond the showers and storms that we're seeing right now, which also aren't very widespread to begin with. Right now on our roadways, though, honestly, none of our cameras are showing a good kind of encapsulation of the rain that we're seeing. You can see some light shower activity here, but most of the showers have fizzled out a little bit more, so they're not as heavy as they were once they first moved in, and I don't think it's going to be a huge impact as the morning does continue either, so we don't really have anything major to be watching for as the morning goes on either.
Well, we've all heard the phrase, treat yourself, and sometimes that means spending a bit too much money. Dayton 24/7 Now's Alex King has some ways to stretch your dollar.
Here are some affordable ways to treat yourself from the website You Need a Budget. We're going to go to this list now. First, drink wine while cooking. Take your dog out on a date to the dog park or out for a cappuccino. Get the nice chocolate. Binge watch your favorite show. Sleep in. Try a new coffee shop you haven't been to yet. Now let us know how you stretch your dollar. You can reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter at Dayton 24/7 Now.
Our time right now is 6:12 this morning.
We're going to give you a live look from London right now, where you can see the Queen's casket there as they remember her life, and the funeral is now underway. We're going to have continuing coverage this morning.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now News.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
A live look this morning from the White House, I should actually say from the Capitol building, where President Biden is now speaking out in what has become a rarity for him, a sit-down interview. That interview aired last night on CBS's 60 Minutes, and Christine Frizzell looks at some of the challenges the president is facing.
Averting a rail strike last week seen as a win for the White House. But the agreement between rail carriers and union leaders representing workers has not yet been finalized, with some fears it may still fall apart.
If, in fact, they had gone on strike, the supply chains in this country would have come to a screeching halt. We would have seen a real economic crisis.
Meanwhile, Americans used to prices at the pump ticking down are getting new warnings that it could all change due to a lack of investment in future oil production, including predictions the price of oil may climb back up to $150 a barrel. As the Consumer Price Index numbers just released showed it up 8.3% from the previous year.
You're not arguing that 8.3 is good news.
No, I'm not saying it is good news, but it was 8.2 or 8.2 before. I mean, it's not, maybe I can make it sound like all of a sudden, my God, it went to 8.2%. It's
the highest inflation rate, Mr. President, in 40 years.
I got that. But guess what we are? We're in a position where for the last several months, it hasn't spiked. It is just barely, it's been basically even.
While President Biden's overall approval rating has been steadily increasing, a brand new NBC News poll shows 58% of voters disapprove of the way he's handling the economy, giving Republicans a 19-point advantage over Democrats, an all-time high. Republicans hoping those numbers equal votes in the midterm elections.
The Democratic Party is extreme on border. They're extreme on crime. They're extreme on inflation.
Prior to this sit-down, Joe Biden has been interviewed just 23 times between becoming president and May of 2022. Compare that to 95 times for Donald Trump and 187 times for Barack Obama at the same point in their presidencies. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell.
Right now we're waking up to some rain, a few thunderstorms moving their way through, and more so out at this point. We did already see them, and they hit some area of some very stable air near downtown Dayton. So I think as the morning continues, we're really seeing the end of this shower activity, and most of us will end up drying out here pretty shortly too. A little bit of some heavier rain down into southern counties. We already saw those storms move through. They're moving out, and most of us are overcast at this point too. So if you're waking up right now, I don't think we're really going to see another round of some rain or thunderstorms as the morning goes on either. Dew points though a little higher, so it's very humid. It's also pretty breezy out there too, with those upper 60s and lower 70s. As the day does continue though, we'll end up clearing out and drying out too, with the 80s back this afternoon. It does stay warmer and more humid all day long today, and even into tomorrow as well. And you can really see again, by lunchtime today, most of our sunshine takes over, and we're ending up today with a really, really pleasant afternoon for the most of us as well. Once we do head into tomorrow, mid-80s are back. Once we're into Wednesday, though, the last day of summer, we're nearing 90-degree temperatures. So it is going to get a lot warmer through Wednesday. But by Wednesday night into Thursday, we're going to see that cold front, which brings fall-like temperatures back. And Thursday is actually the official start to astronomical fall as well. And once we hit the weekend, we stay a little cooler. It's definitely going to put us all into the fall spirit. I've been holding off on putting out the decorations. I think this is the time to do it, the weekend to do it. Definitely taking advantage of what will eventually feel a lot more fall-like for us as well. Right now, a live look at 75 here and 3rd Street. It is definitely a pretty easy start to the day now that those showers have tapered off a bit. We saw that quick kind of light rain, but otherwise no major impacts as the morning continues. And I do think that no matter where you're at, there's nothing to be worried about.
Good morning on this Monday. We are starting to wake up and get more folks out on the roadways. So you can see right here behind me that we have traffic moving nicely. This is going to be that stretch of 70 as you're working your way in from Madison County this morning, heading towards the 270 Outer Belt and downtown Columbus. Things are really in good shape and continuing to move nicely. That entire area in the green. We're also seeing 71 northbound lanes looking good as well. Coming on up from the south, heading towards the 270 Outer Belt and making your way in towards downtown Columbus without any problems. We don't have any overnight construction that's going to slow you down this morning, and we don't have any accidents to report on our board. We're also doing really well over here on 670, so if you have a flight to catch or maybe you have to pick someone up this morning early on this Monday, you are good to go because things are really in good shape. I'm Katie McKee with your Triple Team Traffic.
Topping this morning's Dayton Business Journal headlines, a Dayton area manufacturer officially moving from Bellefontaine to Sydney. Everyday Wire Technologies moved to a new facility just a short drive away from the company's base. It's going to help them grow and be closer to their customer base. Now, though a new facility is smaller than the old one, it does have more space to grow into. Everyday Wire Technologies plans to hire up to 9 more people within the next year. To read more about this story and others like it, head to Dayton247now.com, click on the News tab, and select Dayton Business Journal.
Let's take you back out live this morning to Westminster Abbey. Let's take a live listen into what's being said for Queen Elizabeth II's funeral.
Mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go ye know, and the way ye know. Thomas saith unto him, Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father, but by me. If ye had known me, ye should have known my Father also, and from henceforth ye know him, and have seen him. Philip saith unto him, Lord, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. Jesus saith unto him, Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. Thanks be to God.
That was UK Prime Minister Liz Truss speaking at the Queen's funeral. We'll continue to dip in here as the morning goes along.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now News.
Good morning, everybody. Your time right now is 6:26, and it's time to meet our dog of the day. Today, our dog of the day's name is Bella. Bella's super cute here with her little pink jacket on, and maybe we're wearing the rain jacket this morning, Bella, because we do have a few of those late showers around. Bella was sent in to us from Kathy. They live in Dayton together. We're seeing some of those thunderstorms early on today that eventually will give way to some sunshine later on this afternoon, so it does get a lot nicer for you. Upper 70s, lower 80s today, so still feeling very summer-like, but the best part of this forecast is the fall-like weather is expected to return, and literally just in time for fall. So today, tomorrow through Wednesday, the last day of summer, is going to sit in the upper 80s and lower 90s, and then once we do hit Thursday, the official start to fall, that's when those cooler temperatures return. For this time of the year, we should be sitting in the upper 70s, and obviously we're either above or we're below, so really not trending anywhere near normal over the next few days either. And right now, air quality is still at the moderate level. We have mold at the high level, weed also sitting at the moderate level as well, so really nothing major with that pollen count for us. Right now, as we are headed out the door, we saw some quick rain showers already shift their way through, so I don't think there's much to be concerned about as the morning continues on. I think most of us are going to end up drying from here on out. Otherwise, we're looking good on the roads too. We don't have any slowdowns to report.
Our time right now is 6:27. Don't forget your headlines are scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
This morning, we have new information about Richmond Officer Sierra Burton. Coming up next, I'll have an update for you.
But first, here's Genevieve Gorder with America's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Knocking.
Listen, we all know that grocery prices have increased by almost 11% just in the last year. So we're all looking for ways to save here and there, and this is one of those ways. So today I'm going to show you a system of food storage that is safe, BPA-free, reusable, and great for saving space in the fridge. These are Prep Sealer reusable bags. Now, these bags keep food 3 to 4 times longer than an ordinary sandwich or freezer bag. I like to make this a ritual in my life where as soon as I get my groceries, I come home, I unpack everything, wash, dry, cut up the veggies, and I put them all in Prep Sealer bags. It's that simple. Now, fruits, even easier. You simply just place them in a bag and you're done. What's great is that these bags have been scientifically proven to absorb food gases, which not only keeps food fresher, it keeps it fresh much longer. Plus, they're dishwasher and microwave safe. I don't know about you, but I also hate throwing away unused food every week. With Prep Sealer, not only are my avocados not browning as fast, everything is keeping longer. And I'm saving by not having to buy more and more and more. You know what I'm talking about? So right now we're offering up to 40% off, you guys. Take advantage of this deal at asadeals.com.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
This morning, we are continuing to follow the funeral happening right now for Queen Elizabeth II. Let's listen in. This is the Archbishop of Canterbury, Reverend Justin Welby. Now, we do know following this morning's service, we're taking a live look of obviously from Queen Elizabeth II's service this morning. There will be a procession from Westminster Abbey to Wellington Arch, passing Buckingham Palace. And then around 8 o'clock this morning, our time, the coffin will be placed in a hearse and driven to Windsor. Around 11 o'clock, there will be a committal service will begin at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. And of course, we will continue to follow all of this coverage for you all morning long live right here this morning. And now we want to give you a live look this morning over the Gem City. We are waking up to some scattered thunderstorms across the Miami Valley.
Let's check in with meteorologist Adriana Michaels. And Adriana, what do people need to know?
So far, we're seeing that light rain really starting to make its way out. So not a huge impact any longer, but definitely still seeing some of that light sprinkles. You did get a really powerful line of storms that developed pretty quickly here. You can see that popping off, but obviously made its way out. And right now, most of us are sitting dry. A little bit of lingering rain up into Mercer, Auglaize counties too, and then down into parts of Butler and Warren counties as well. A little overcast though, otherwise with higher levels of humidity too. So it's definitely getting warmer, a little more uncomfortable too. 71 degrees, dew points in the lower 60s. It's breezy on top of all of that, so that's kind of helping it feel not too bad, but it's very windy at that. I mean, we're talking winds right now, southwesterly winds at 17 miles an hour. Very humid, and that sticks around all day long today. We have a hot stretch of weather to finish off the summer season, and then once we move into fall, cooler air returns, and I'll have the details on that cooler air coming up in just a few minutes. Thankfully, that rain has made its way out, and we're really not expecting it to impact the commute. And right now, we're not seeing that as an issue either. So there's not much to report on our roadways, which is a good way to kick off a Monday morning drive.
Now, today's top story. We have new information this morning. Richmond officer Sierra Burton passed away late last night.
The Richmond Police Department keeping us updated in a series of Facebook posts. And Dayton 24/7 Now's Alex King is live this morning with more. Alex.
Officer Burton passed away just before 10 last night, surrounded by her family. And today, local law enforcement will escort her body back home. Now, this is the processional route just released by Richmond Police on Facebook. Officer Burton will be taken to Doan Mills Funeral Home, where her family is still working on details about her funeral. She was shot during a routine traffic stop back in August, and she was taken to Miami Valley Hospital. She was taken off of life support earlier this month and has spent the last few weeks in hospice care. The police department thanking the Richmond community and those who have supported Sierra, her family, and the department from near and far. Of course, we'll continue to follow this. We'll update you on air and online at Dayton247now.com as soon as we learn any updates. And stick with us because we're going to talk more about what Richmond police are saying now. Live in Dayton, Alex King, Dayton 24/7 Now News.
Thanks, Alex. You can now visit new exhibits at the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force as they celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Air Force. The theme this year is Innovate, Accelerate, Thrive. The Air Force is 75. The anniversary celebrations highlight the U.S. Air Force and Department of Air Force's commitment to, quote, fly, flight, and win, delivering air power anytime, anywhere in defense of our nation. End quote. Now, the museum will host new exhibits honoring Air Force humanitarian and combat search and rescue missions, as well as memorial exhibits for World War II and the Korean War.
Well, the Greater Dayton Heart Walk returned in person this year, fundraising for stroke and heart disease awareness. Our evening anchor Adam Arrow emceed that event, cheering on runners and walkers before taking off for the 5K. This year, they raised more than $300,000. The American Heart Association helps doctors and healthcare providers fund research programs and teaches us how to live healthier, longer lives. Around 100 people took part in the walk or run to raise awareness for stroke and heart disease. Heart and Vascular Executive Director at Kettering Health, Alina Joseph, says the walk is crucial to the community. To read more about this story and others like it, head to Dayton247now.com.
Our time right now is 6:39. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather, of course, on this side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
On your mark, get set, go. The Air Force Marathon returns in its entirety. How many came out to run in the event held at the base?
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now News.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A fantastic shot of the gibbous moon from central New York. Recent cold fronts cleared out the haze, allowing for clear, deep blue skies. Now to Nashville, where a mackerel sky recently made an appearance. It's made up of altocumulus clouds, usually packed together. And finally to Denali State Park in Alaska, where the leaves are already changing colors and winter is clearly not far away.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
We're live from the Watson's Weather Patio this morning. Waking up right now to a very humid start to the day. Opted for the jacket just because in case it was raining, I didn't want to get soggy, but honestly, we're not seeing any shower activity out here right now. There are a few very isolated light drizzly spots out here, but otherwise, it doesn't seem like it's that bad of a morning for you either. Right now, experiencing some of that light rain, mainly in our southwestern counties. Northeastern counties got a pretty decent thunderstorm early on today, but that's obviously cleared its way out. Most of us are sitting a little bit quieter as the morning continues. Now it is breezy, but that also makes it feel a little more comfortable because we are in the lower 70s at this point. So it's definitely a very warm start to the day out here. We technically for this time of the year should be in the mid 50s, but otherwise obviously experiencing what will be a very uncomfortable afternoon because when it's humid like this, it's definitely going to stay like this all day long today too. Most of you by lunchtime today will be topping out in the mid 70s, finishing the day off in the lower 80s, and we're expecting this breezier air to stick around too. And we do end up with some light wind and some light rain this morning, but otherwise the sunshine returning later on today.
There are many causes of hair loss in dogs and cats. So if you are noticing increased shedding or bald spots on your furry friend, definitely schedule an appointment with your veterinarian. Your veterinary professional will probably want to begin with skin scrapes and impression smears of the lesions to look for bacteria, yeast, and parasites. They might also recommend blood work to look for endocrine diseases like hypothyroidism and Cushing disease in your canine patients. In some cases, hair loss can be behavioral, especially in cats, but it's important to rule out all medical causes before attributing the loss to behavioral issues. If you're worried about your pet's coat, schedule an appointment with your local veterinarian. If you ever have questions when it comes to what's best for your pet's health, reach out to your local veterinary professionals. Connect with us at our station website by looking up For Pet's Sake. We'd also love to see your favorite pet moments that you can share with our community. Go to our news app, click Explore, chime in, and upload your pet-tastic photos.
Our time right now is 6:45. A live look from London as the world bids farewell to Queen Elizabeth II. The funeral happening right now. We are continuing to provide coverage for you all morning long.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now News. Now we want to give you another live look this morning from Westminster Abbey, where we are watching live the funeral service of Queen Elizabeth II.
Let's listen in.
And this morning, again, we are taking a live look from Westminster Abbey as the UK honors the life and legacy of the longest reigning monarch. 70 years Queen Elizabeth II sat on the throne.
That is the Archbishop of Canterbury in the Church of England. They are continuing to honor the Queen. You just heard from the choir of Westminster Abbey. We're going to continue to follow this story closely for you all morning long, and of course bring you updates as the funeral continues for Queen Elizabeth II.
Right now, as you do get ready to wake up, it was a little rainy, but we're also seeing some drier air filtering in, maybe an isolated shower or two in spots. All Glaze and Mercer counties, that's where we're maybe seeing some of that light rain shower activity, and otherwise it's overcast and it's humid. And right now you're seeing maybe a little bit of light breaking through that cloud cover. We're still about 30 minutes from official sunrise time, but we do have some of those overcast conditions obviously starting the day off today. Lower 70s right now. We got dew points in the mid 60s, so it's very warm, very, very humid. That air is super heavy, but the nice thing that's kind of helping it not feel uncomfortable and unbearable out there is the fact that right now we do have southwesterly winds at 17 miles an hour. So that breeze really, really helping, but it is super windy at that too. Upper 60s, lower 70s. Most of us are experiencing a nice, comfortable day for us. By this afternoon, the mid 80s are back, and we're going to end up seeing some of that cloud cover make its way out and the sunshine eventually return. Obviously, our system did not stay the course as it looks like here, and we end up just seeing it kind of fizzle out, fall apart, make its way out. Through lunchtime, the sun is back, and by the end of the day today, the mid 80s are back too. Now, we do have some of those mid to upper 80s through Wednesday into Thursday, or through Tuesday into Wednesday. Wednesday is the last day of summer, and it is going to feel like summer, that's for sure. Thursday being the official start to fall, it's like we literally flipped the switch to cooler air, lower levels of humidity. It's going to be chilly both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but something to kind of look forward to if you're definitely ready for that fall season to start. Right now, a live look at 675 here, Willington Pike. It's been a pretty quiet morning on the roads where everything so far is looking like it's moving along nicely. We don't have any issues out there, and we haven't all morning, so I don't think there's necessarily anything that you need to be planning ahead for as you start off that Monday commute.
Our time right now is 6:52. You say tomato, I say tomato. Green, red, and now purple. Why scientists create a new color and when you might see it in stores.
We are taking a live look this morning as the service for Queen Elizabeth II is now underway. We have had the procession. We have followed that live all morning long. We do know that King Charles III is there, and obviously the Queen Consort Camilla, along with Prince William and Prince Harry as well.
Let's listen in.
To the departed, rest. To the Church, the King, the Commonwealth, and all people, peace and concord. And to us sinners, life everlasting. And the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be among you and remain with you always.